Hello and welcome to Cupertino Insight. I'm Dorothy Cornelius, City Clerk of Cupertino, and your host for this program. Tonight we're going to get some tips on fireplace safety, talk about the plans for the Civic Center Expansion, see some students from Cupertino who recently received quite an honor, and meet some recipients of grants from the Cable Television Advisory Committee. Here in the studio are those grant recipients. They are David Halliday, Tree West, and Kathy Wolfe. First, we're going to see a little bit about David Halliday's production entitled High Tech Emergency. David, tell us a little bit about your project. How did you get involved in this? What inspired it?
Well, what you just saw there was a Steinway grand piano. And as you can see here, there's no Steinway in the studio.
That's right.
What we've had for the past couple of years while doing our music show is a little Yamaha upright. And for the show that you saw up here on the monitor, we actually rented a Steinway grand. And John Barbour, who rented us the piano, he's a master piano technician and owns the Ye Olde Piano Shop, has offered to let us have another grand, and that's what this grand is paying for. And so we're doing a solo piano series that will include various kinds of piano. We have Anna Poklevsky will be part of it, and she's a great Chopin, Beethoven interpreter. We have Bill Quist we're negotiating with. He's just released an album of Eric Satie piano music with Windham Hill. It's got great reviews. And we have Will Nichols, whom you just saw, who played with Eddie Gale's group on High Tech Emergency. So we have kind of a variety of classical music, jazz. We have a woman named Doro Reeves, who plays with a group called Northwind, and is also releasing an album of her own solo piano music. She plays a kind of George Winston style of piano, one of George Winston's favorite piano players, as a matter of fact. And Margie Adam is a pianist that will also have kind of George Winston style. And we're still looking for pianists as well. I'm still listening to audition tapes, and we'd like any interested pianists to go ahead and contact us. I think they'll put our address and telephone number up on the credits.
And that program is being produced here at Channel 3.
Mm-hmm.
Very good, and that's where we would get to see it, right?
That's right, Professor Video.
Ah, all right, that's the name of the show, Professor Video. Thank you. Tree.
Yes.
You also, I know, received a grant from the Cable TV Advisory Committee. And I believe the name of your production is Jumpin' Jacks and Jills.
Yes.
What type of show is that?
It's aimed towards children, the 3 to 7-year-old children. And it's sort of a variety type thing. It started out being basically a fine arts with dancing and music, and it sort of expanded to include other things, just rampant silliness, storytelling, little messages, things like that.
I believe we also have a segment of one of your shows available to be seen. I'm sure looking forward to seeing it. It sounds like a really cute show.
It is.
Yeah.
And the first thing that we do is we warm up our feet so we can run around crazy up and down the street, huh?
I don't run on the street, I run on the sidewalk.
You do? Okay, keep the feet going. and around and around and around. Say hello, toes.
Hello, toes.
Say goodbye, toes.
Goodbye, toes.
Hello, toes. Goodbye, toes. Hello, toes.
Let's go.
Who's that at our door? Let's go see.
Mom's gonna say something.
It's Captain Bill. Hi, Captain Bill. How are you?
Tree, why did you apply for the grant, and what are the kinds of things you anticipate using that money for?
Well, we wanted to get the grant to be able to expand the show a little bit more. We want to get some new puppets, do some more things with the set in order just to make it a little more lively, more interesting for the children.
I see. How long has that show been in production?
I believe it's been over a year, possibly about a year and a half. I came in rather late. I came in within the last few months to join the show.
That's also seen on Channel 3.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, if I could, I just wanted to mention a little clip that we had there. The woman was Carol Romo, and the fellow playing Captain Bill was her husband, Mark. They're the star and producer of the show.
Ah, thank you.
So.
Yes. Kathy,
Yes.
I understand the name of the show you're associated with is Cisco Presents. Exactly what type of show is that?
Well, all of our programming focuses on women and women's issues, and it's somewhat of a spin-off from a home repair show we had here at Channel 3 called Fix It Now, which was women contractors demonstrating home repair.
I remember, I saw that show. In fact, I was here one day when it was being taped. I think Nancy Binnewig was also involved in that, wasn't she? She's a local contractor, I think.
No, not in that particular show.
Okay. We also have a clip of one of your shows. I believe it has to do with women's music.
Right. Part of the grant that I'm going to be using will be showing singer-songwriter Gail Marie, and we have some examples of her work.
Thank you.
Crazy situation, no communication, just stormy nights and windy afternoons. Enough is enough. I couldn't stand those sullen looks and words you picked up from old psychology books. You know, enough stormy nights and windy afternoons. I don't know why I stood it all those years. Perhaps it was because I had that awful fear I'd be alone, rejected by the ones who stood by me. But now that I've done it, I feel real, real free. You know, I look to the mountains. They told me a tale of a woman who was living in her own private jail. That woman was me, with stormy nights and windy afternoons.
I want to thank all three of you for being here with me today. I wish you lots and lots of success with your programs, all of which can be seen right here on Channel 3 out of the studio, right? Okay. In case any of you are interested in applying for a grant, there are minor grants available which go up to $200 throughout the year. Major grants are issued twice a year. The deadline for applications for the next round is April 15th. Any of you interested can call Michelle Mann. She is the chairperson of the city's Cable Television Advisory Commission and can be reached at City Hall, 252-4505. Last week, there was a ceremony held at Lincoln School honoring the students of that school. They raised $8,000 to be donated to the restoration of the Statue of Liberty. Many dignitaries were there, and we have a tape of some of the proceedings.
Did you know it was the school children of America that helped get the Statue of Liberty raised? You're all very neat.
We're very honored to be a member of your board and to work on your behalf, and we congratulate you all.
So sing the children of Cupertino's Lincoln Elementary School, having successfully sold over $6,000 worth of these chocolate bars to be put towards the restoration of the Statue of Liberty. A special assembly was held for those kids, and you can bet your sweet tooth everybody came.
Boys and girls, I am the proudest superintendent in the entire country, in the entire state of California, because we have the most wonderful children right here in Cupertino. And I'd like to say to you that I'm proud of you, not just because you know what it is to be a wonderful American, to be proud of our flag and our country, but you know that it's important to learn, to study, to do your homework. You're also the very best and the very brightest. So congratulations. We are so proud of you. You are the best in America.
Therefore, I, Phil Johnson, hereby commend and congratulate the students of Lincoln School for their successful efforts to assist in the restoration of the Statue of Liberty. And while I came here to read this proclamation, I really came here to meet all of you and tell you what a fantastic job you did. So thank you very much.
You have unbeatable enthusiasm. I never saw anything like all those candies that you sold. I'm glad I wasn't eating too many of them. And you know you're going to be part of history? That you're helping to restore the statue so your children can enjoy it and their children's children.
I think the key part for me was in totaling the whole thing for the orders, to see what our youngsters had done in such a short amount of time. I just was extremely, and am extremely proud of each of them. I feel that they've had a key part in our history and for the 100th birthday of the Statue of Liberty.
In addition to the well-deserved praise, special Statue of Liberty pins, 8-pound chocolate bars, and many other gifts were given to the children, including a 6-foot sign presented by Mr. Bosma of the Clorox Corporation.
It's for accomplishment of people who support the restoration of the statue. And certainly it's fitting that one of these signs is going to go to the school and to the city. So
These kids weren't thinking about the recognition when they started this project.
Well, it's kind of a feeling that, you know, lots of people want to go down in history for doing good stuff, and lots of people, you know, just want to do good deeds for things that have been given to us, you know, over the years and stuff like the Statue of Liberty.
The Statue of Liberty is like friendship and like peace and freedom. And so it means a lot to me. So I wanted to help restore it and earn as much money as I possibly could.
When the order forms came in and I started to tally them on December 3rd, I couldn't believe what the youngsters had done in a matter of 10 days. I then called the order into Nestle's and then fiddled with the figures, and they were phenomenal.
When I ask you to clap, let's clap for all the children out there, because I know you all had something to do with this.
The sign will be on display at Lincoln School on McClellan Road, so all of you will have the opportunity to drop by and see it. We're very proud of the students, and on behalf of the city, I want to congratulate them. With me now is Barbara Brown, the assistant to the city manager. She's here to talk about the plans to expand the Civic Center. Barbara, I know that you recently served on a committee with some other staff members as well as council members to look at our present City Hall, Library, and Civic Plaza, and determine what the needs of the city are at this time. Could you please tell us about that committee and the work that was done?
Yeah, the committee was appointed in October as a result of looking at a lot of different uses that municipal government and other governmental agencies might have for that area that now exists between Pacifica Avenue and Rodriguez, and that faces Torrey. If you look at that area, there's what looks like a flat playing sports field, but is actually a part of the Civic Center that was purchased for whatever kind of expansion we might need in the future. I think more specifically we were looking at a possible public safety building that would include police and fire administration, if that ever happens to be something we need in this community. But when we looked at that as one possible expansion, there were other kinds of needs that this community has for municipal services and other agencies. And when I say other agencies, I guess I'm thinking most specifically about a new post office location. But we also would like to have a community center from which our recreation programs can come. There are some organizations in the community that would like to see a historical museum. There's a variety of other possible functions. Simultaneously with the kinds of other municipal activities we'd like to see in that area, we are experiencing a tremendous amount of overcrowding in both the library facility and the City Hall facility. And so a committee was appointed of 2 council members and 5 staff members to look at what kinds of functions we really wanted to have at a civic center. It seemed that was essential first to know what it was we wanted there. And once we determined what we wanted there, what kind of changes would be necessary to achieve those aims.
I do understand that one of the thoughts given at one time was just to start and eliminate the City Hall we have now and perhaps build a new one. But I do realize that was not what was decided.
Well, I think it's important for all of us to look at all the possible options. And one of the principles that we deal with in conjunction with that really tends more with the idea of remodeling and rehabilitating. Sometimes you start with something that doesn't work, and when you finish it may not work, and it's cost you a lot of money. And sometimes just start from scratch seems cleaner. So it was an alternative that got considered. But it was considered along with some other alternatives by the City Council. Let me just say that the committee took to the City Council all the possible functions they could envision in that area in October, and the City Council gave us the kinds of guidance they thought we needed at that point. And they said they thought it was appropriate for a City Hall function to come out of the Civic Center, the library to be out of the Civic Center, and perhaps a historical museum. But that a post office would generate much too much traffic in a really predominantly residential area, that a community center would have the same kinds of access and traffic generation problems. And the other alternatives were equally weighed and determined that we didn't want to have them. We are, of course, continuing to reserve that space on the corner of Pacifica and Torrey for a public safety building. If we weren't going to build one there, we'd have to reserve some other land space someplace else in the city in the event that we should have to take over both police and fire.
Right, and we do own the property.
We do own that property now, and it seemed appropriate to keep it in the Civic Center complex.
I agree with that, certainly. Could you tell us a little bit about the conditions currently existing City Hall, which was one of the reasons this became very important?
Well, you know, one of the major premises is that in both the library and the City Hall that we are very much overcrowded. Currently, the City Hall staff is all housed and functions off of the ground floor level. There is a lower level basement that is unfinished, and so it doesn't meet some of the normal standards that we're used to in terms of ceiling height and exposure to light and those kinds of things. Well, one of the things that's happened was that when that City Hall was built, it was built for a community. It was serving approximately 20,000 people. We're now a community of 38,000 or more. In addition to that, some of the modern kinds of equipment that we use really takes up a lot more space. A computer, we have what's called a mini computer. It's an IBM System 34. It takes up as much space as a full office would for an executive type arrangement. In addition to that, we also have microcomputers on a variety of desks that also have to be able to do the work that they used to be able to do. These computers are much more adequate than we've ever had in terms of efficiently running office space, but they take up space that would otherwise have had people or people's workspace in it. We just need more room. It's very crowded. We also have some additional staff from what we've had 10 or 15 years ago when the City Hall was first built.
What about the library?
The library is an unusual shape for a library besides everything else. When you look at the square footage on paper, it seems a lot different than when you walk through it. But because it tends to be pie-shaped, because it's a round building, you have a lot of area that's not very functional. It also needs to be handicap accessible, so a certain amount of space needs to be kept between the shelves, and we just simply don't have enough room to accommodate the people. Again, the population's grown significantly. The book collection itself has grown significantly, and it is a depository for the countywide system, so it grows even larger than our own immediate community. It grows as the community or the county grows.
This is really a major undertaking. Has any kind of a timetable been established?
We presented some alternatives to the City Council, and I guess this is the point we really want to get to. The alternative that was accepted by the City Council was to do some expansion in the current buildings at both City Hall and the library, and do some landscaping and design work around the Civic Center Plaza so that it's tied in. We think that after we send that out to an architect, which we're getting ready to do at the earliest possible moment, it should take us from 18 to 24 months of construction rehab before we can actually occupy a decent amount of space.
Barbara, I want to thank you very much for being here today. It's certainly a topic that's of importance not just to the staff members in the city and the library, but the whole community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We all know it's the middle of winter and we're concerned about keeping warm. Evenings are very, very cold and we've all had our PG&E bills go up. The city and the district want to keep it a safe winter. So here are some tips on preventing fires and using your fireplace and wood-burning stove safely.
Central Fire District is warning us to take special care of our fireplaces this winter.
In terms of the magnitude of the problem, heating fires in the winter are the #1 cause of property loss attributed to fire in the United States today. And unfortunately, these statistics are borne out here in the Cupertino area of the Central Fire District. Last year, or at least during the last winter season, the Central Fire District responded to better than 30 heating fires, and the result equated out to about $180,000 in losses. During the last couple of years, the number of heating fire incidents have increased, primarily, I suspect, due to the fact that people are trying to seek an alternative to the high cost of heating their homes. And instead of relying on the local utility company, they're now using fireplaces which may not have been used for quite some time, or they're pulling back into service stoves that may have been resting out in the garage or in some other storage space. They're installing them with the best of intentions, but unfortunately, if people are not aware of the installation requirements to do so safely, they're going to receive a false sense of security.
The main cause of fires is the lack of proper maintenance and installation. Angelo tells us it's a good idea to have the building department come out and inspect your device and issue a permit. Another way to ensure that your unit is in good working order is to call a service for periodic cleaning and repairs.
First of all, you want to eliminate any possibility of any kind of fire hazard. The buildup of creosote inside of the fireplace and the chimney is the main reason to have it cleaned out. Plus the fact that you should have it inspected periodically to make sure there are no problems with the fireplace itself.
Yeah.
This chimney sweep service should come out, inspect your chimney to make sure it even needs cleaning, check the damper to make sure it's working properly, block off the fireplace itself so that nothing escapes into the house. Then you should proceed to get on the roof and clean the top section of the chimney. At that time, you should put a spark arrestor up on top, which helps prevent sparks from landing on the roof and causing a fire on top. After he cleans the top, you should come back inside the house, unveil the fireplace, and go ahead and clean out the smoke chamber and the firebox.
The experts recommend cleaning a fireplace every 3 or 4 cords, or once a year for a wood-burning stove. They also caution against burning green wood.
Burning wood like pine and Doug fir, eucalyptus, some of those oily woods is especially bad if it's green. If it's real dry, the price can be right. But if it's green, it can really build up fast inside the chimney.
Here are some additional heating fire safety tips from Central Fire District. Inspect any heating device installation through the building department. Contact a reputable service to perform periodic inspections and repairs. Familiarize yourself with the proper uses of a device. Contact the manufacturer for more details. Obtain a copy of Central Fire District's brochure, Burning Safely with Wood. And in case of suspected problems, call 911 and have the fire department come out and make sure everything is safe.
If something does go wrong and it does result in a problem, if they have any questions at all on whether the unit is functioning properly, don't take any chances. Evacuate the area, call the fire department.
Brochures can be picked up from the district office, or you could receive one in the mail by phoning 378-4015. That's Central Fire Protection District. Thank you for watching Insight. Good night.